Psychosocial hazards.
Psychosocial hazard means any factor or factors in any of the following: work design, systems of work, management of work, carrying out of the work, and personal or work-related interactions that may arise in the working environment and cause an employee to experience one or more negative psychological responses that create a risk to their health or safety. The most effective way to prevent psychological or physical harm is to eliminate or reduce exposure to psychosocial hazards in your workplace. There is a greater risk of harm when multiple hazards are present, so it's important to consider how psychosocial hazards can combine and interact. If an employee is exposed to one or more psychosocial hazards in the workplace, this may result in psychological or physical harm, including injury, illness, or death. Examples of harm include depression, anxiety, or musculoskeletal disorders. You must consult with employees and health and safety representatives when identifying psychosocial hazards. If you've identified psychosocial hazards in your workplace, proceed to the next steps in the risk management process. Assess the risks associated with the hazard. Then implement controls to eliminate or reduce the risk, so far as is reasonably practicable. After this short WorkSafe video, we'll look at some ways to identify psychosocial hazards on site.
Psychologically healthy and safe workplaces are great for business. Productivity goes up, and at the same time, workplace incidents decrease, which further reduce the costs for your business.
We often underestimate the impact of mental injuries.
And what we've seen is that those who experience mental injuries actually have longer recovery times compared to those people who experience physical injuries.
Your employees have a right to a safe and healthy working environment.
Employers have legal responsibilities to protect both psychological and physical health of their employees.
You might already have a risk management process in place for physical hazards. You can actually use that same process to also eliminate or reduce psychosocial risks. There's 4 steps to the risk management process.
The first step is to identify hazards. Employers should use the workplace data that's already available to them to help identify the hazards that are present. Things like incident reports, absenteeism, staff turnover data, and talking to your employees.
Second step is assessing risks. This is the process of understanding who is at risk, what could happen, and how likely it is that the hazard could cause harm to your employees.
The third step is to control risks. Control measures are about putting things in place to remove or reduce the risk.
And finally, the 4th step is to review and, if necessary, revise risk controls. Ask yourself what controls are working and what might need to be improved. These 4 steps are a continuous process. They should become part of the day-to-day running of your business.
It's important to talk to your employees and health and safety representatives if you have them. It's part of your legal responsibility as an employer. Employees are your best source of information.
Visit our website for practical resources and information.
Continuing with identifying psychosocial hazards on site. Review internal information. Review sick leave and unplanned leave records. Do rates of sick leave or other unplanned leave show any trends, such as higher levels of absenteeism in particular work areas, or more leave being taken at certain times? Review hazard, incident, and injury reports. Do hazard, injury, or incident reports show any trends or patterns in the data that show psychosocial hazards are present? Review records of hours worked. Do records show that any employees are working excessive or unusual hours? Review meeting records. Have any potential psychosocial hazards or risks been raised in meetings? Review claims data. Have there been any workers' compensation claims for psychological injuries? This could be anxiety disorder, depression, or post-traumatic stress disorder, for example. Review employee complaints and investigation reports. Have there been any complaints of harmful behavior such as bullying, aggression or violence, or sexual harassment? Are there reports of ongoing conflict between employees or with managers? Review Employee Assistance Program data. Do Employee Assistance Program reports show trends of employees seeking help for work-related reasons? Review Industrial Relations Records. Do industrial relations records indicate employee exposure to psychosocial hazards? Review Productivity Records. Have there been any changes or trends in productivity that could indicate exposure to psychosocial hazards? Review employee surveys or previous risk assessments. Have any previous employee surveys or assessments indicated any psychosocial hazards are present in the workplace? If you answer yes to any question, this suggests a psychosocial hazard may be present. Some questions may require further consultation to gather more information. If a hazard is identified, you must control the risk.
Psychological health is our state of well-being that affects the way we think and feel and act.
Employers have legal responsibilities to protect their employees' psychological health at work. Generally, when we think about workplace safety, our minds automatically revert to physical safety.
Psychological health is just as important as physical health.
Reducing psychological harm benefits everyone in Victorian workplaces.
Psychosocial hazards can be present in workplaces in many ways, and they can include things like bullying, sexual harassment, aggression and violence, poor support, and high job demands.
Psychosocial hazards are factors in the design, management, systems, carrying out, or social aspects of the work that can cause physical and psychological harm, such as excessive worrying, difficulty sleeping, difficulty concentrating, or feelings of isolation.
It can also present in very physical ways, like headaches, stomach aches, and increased heart rate.
Psychosocial hazards can combine and interact, which increases the risk of harm. When psychological harm continues over an extended period of time, it can lead to psychological injuries, such as depression, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorder. There is no industry, workplace, or role that's free from psychosocial hazards. A psychologically healthy workplace is one that actively works to prevent harm. They're usually the workplaces that are frequently talking to their employees, because employees can be your best source of information.
For years, we've understood the importance of physically safe workplaces. The next step is to ask yourself whether your workplace is psychologically healthy and safe. Visit our website for practical resources and information.
The most effective way to prevent psychological or physical harm is to eliminate or reduce exposure to psychosocial hazards in your workplace. There is a greater risk of harm when multiple hazards are present, so it's important to consider how psychosocial hazards can combine and interact. Observe the workplace. Having reviewed your workplace information, in consultation with employees and subcontractors, consider the following questions to identify the psychosocial hazards in your workplace. High job demands. This is work involving sustained or repeated high physical, mental, or emotional effort, or a combination of any of these. Do employees work under significant time pressure or have too much to do? Do employees skip breaks to complete work? Are deadlines often tight or unrealistic? Are rest periods between shifts often too short? Do employees work in roles that are emotionally demanding or require them to hide their emotions? Or are there extended periods in some jobs where intense focus is needed?
High job demands refer to work requiring sustained or repeated high effort. It can look like long hours without breaks, unpredictable work hours, unreasonable deadlines, not enough resources to complete a task, constant physical exertion or repeated movement, tasks beyond your skills, distressing situations, managing complex situations under pressure. Experiencing these can increase your risk of harm, leading to fatigue, anxiety and depression, concentration issues, impaired judgment, high blood pressure, slower reaction times. Report high job demands to a trusted supervisor, human resources, or a health and safety representative. For more, visit our website or call WorkSafe Advisory Service.
There's low job demands. This is work involving sustained low physical, mental, or emotional effort. Ask yourself, do employees or subcontractors spend long periods on monotonous or repetitive tasks? Is the work well below employee skills and experience? Do employees report feeling bored or underutilized? Low job control. This might be when a person has little control over aspects of their work, including how or when a job is done. Look for things like, do employees have little say over how or when they do their work? Are tasks overly controlled or closely monitored? Do employees have no say about when to take breaks? Is employee input rarely sought when decisions are made that affect them? Low role clarity. Ask yourself, are employees unclear about what is expected of them? Are there any conflicting roles or responsibilities? Do the same tasks get allocated to multiple employees without clarifying their individual involvement? Poor support. What do you notice? Are supervisors unavailable or unable to give practical and/or emotional support when needed? Are processes in place to support new, young, or migrant employees? Are there employees unavailable or unable to provide assistance when needed? Or do employees lack the tools or resources they need to do their work? Low recognition or reward. This could be where there is a low level or lack of acknowledgement, reward, or recognition for an employee's contributions, achievements, or efforts. Do employees receive too little feedback about their performance? Is there a lack of recognition for employees' qualifications, skills, and experience, and the value this brings to the workplace? Do employees feel their effort is not matched by the recognition or rewards they receive? Poor organizational justice. Look for issues like, are policies and procedures applied inconsistently? Are decisions about work or resources unfair or showing favoritism? Is important information withheld or not shared openly? Is there a lack of effective management of underperformance or harmful behaviors? Poor organizational change management. This could be when change related to an employee's work conditions is poorly managed, supported, or communicated. Is communication about workplace changes unclear or lacking? Are employees not consulted before major changes are made? Do employees get too little time or training to adjust to new tasks or roles? Or are employees unclear about their responsibilities and/or expectations following a change in the workplace? Exposure to traumatic events or content. Exposure to traumatic events may involve actual or perceived threats to life, experiencing a serious injury, witnessing serious injuries or fatalities. Exposure to traumatic content may include hearing other people's traumatic stories, reading detailed reports or documents about traumatic events, reviewing images or video footage of traumatic events.
Exposure to traumatic events or content can cause fear and distress. This can happen once or build up over time. Traumatic events can include physical or verbal assault, witnessing death or serious injury, natural or human disasters, security threats, counseling others with traumatic experiences. Traumatic content can include graphic imagery or injuries, reports about traumatic events. Exposure can lead to distress, anxiety or fear, feeling isolated, sleep issues, flashbacks, feeling withdrawn, physical symptoms, suicidal thoughts. Report exposure to traumatic events or content to a trusted supervisor, human resources, or a health and safety representative. For more, visit our website or call WorkSafe Advisory Service.
Let's look at poor workplace relationships. These could be interactions in the workplace that may be harmful. These can start with low intensity incivility. If unaddressed, they can escalate into more harmful interactions. Look around. Do employees treat each other with disrespect? Do managers or supervisors speak to employees disrespectfully? Are there conflicts in workplace relationships? Aggression or violence. This is any incident in which a person is abused, threatened, or assaulted in circumstances relating to their work. What have you noticed? Do employees interact with clients, customers, or members of the public? Do employees face the risk of abuse, assaults, or threats in relation to their work, either verbal or physical? Is aggressive or violent behavior from clients, customers, the public, or other employees ignored or accepted?
Aggression or violence can be directed at a person or group and can include sneering, eye-rolling, standing over someone, yelling, swearing, threats of harm, online harassment, throwing objects, physical violence such as hitting, kicking, or pushing. It can be a single incident or happen more than once, come from co-workers, managers, or the public, and can lead to distress, anxiety, depression, and suicidal thoughts. You are at a higher risk if you work with the public, handle cash, drugs, or valuables, work alone, in remote areas, or at night, in an emergency, set off alarms, call 000, seek safety and support. When it's safe, report the incident to a trusted supervisor, human resources, or a health and safety representative. For more, visit our website or call WorkSafe Advisory Service.
Bullying. This is repeated, unreasonable behavior directed at a person or group that creates a risk to health and safety. Do employees experience repeated criticism, teasing, or exclusion at work? Are employees subjected to verbal abuse, humiliation, or intimidation regularly? Is bullying behavior ignored, accepted, or not managed effectively?
Bullying is repeated, unreasonable behavior directed at a person or group in the working environment, such as verbal abuse, threats, intimidation, exclusion from conversations or activities, abusive or offensive emails or correspondence, unnecessary pressure or impossible demands, unfair criticism, impossible deadlines or unfair tasks, being given the wrong or no information, interference with personal belongings or work equipment. Bullying can cause distress, anxiety, panic attacks, disturbed sleep, loss of confidence and withdrawal, depression or suicidal thoughts. If you witness or experience bullying, keep a record and report it to a trusted supervisor, human resources, or a health and safety representative. For more, visit our website or call WorkSafe Advisory Service.
Sexual harassment. Do employees experience unwelcome sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, or repeated requests to go out, from clients or other employees? Are employees exposed to inappropriate sexual behaviors, such as comments, jokes, or unwelcome physical contact from clients or other employees?
Sexual harassment is unwelcome sexual behavior or actions directed at a person or group. It can include touching or staring, sexually suggestive comments or jokes, displaying offensive images or objects, repeated date requests, intrusive questions, unnecessary physical contact, sexually explicit communication via email, text, and social media. These behaviors can occur once or repeatedly. All are unacceptable. They can lead to distress, anxiety, depression, and suicidal thoughts. if it is safe to do so, call it out or report it to a trusted supervisor, human resources, or a health and safety representative. For more, visit our website or call WorkSafe Advisory Service.
Gendered violence. This is any behavior that is directed at, or affecting, a person because of their sex, sexual orientation, gender, gender identity, or because they do not follow socially prescribed gender roles and stereotypes. Do employees experience negative treatment, comments, or jokes based on their sex, gender, or sexual orientation? Are employees targeted or excluded because they do not conform to gender expectations or roles? Or do employees experience or witness sexist, homophobic, or transphobic behavior? Poor environmental conditions. This might be when employees are exposed to poor quality or hazardous working environments, including in work-provided accommodation. Are employees exposed to uncomfortable or unsafe working environments such as excessive noise, heat, cold, poor air quality or hygiene? Is lighting, workspace design, or equipment setup inadequate for the tasks being performed? Or are there concerns about security or personal safety in the work environment? A yes response to any question indicates that the psychosocial hazard may be present and requires further action. If a hazard is identified, you must control the risk.
Hallmarc's safety management systems are not complete without mental health considerations. Mental health is not just a human resource issue. It is a critical component of our health and safety management system, and one that Hallmarc expects you to address. If you wouldn't send someone into a confined space without a rescue plan, don't send them into a stressful environment without support. As safety professionals, our job is to protect the whole person, not just from falling objects or sharp tools, but from the pressures that are harder to see but just as dangerous. By embedding mental health into our health and safety culture, we build stronger teams, safer sites, and more resilient businesses. Because real safety covers everything, including the mind.
Thank you for your time.